Hi friends, Miss J here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about pastels in this video, how to use them, what they're made of, and how you can incorporate blending them in your final color wheel. So first of all, here's pastels. As you can see, they're very small, they're blunt, they're short. Pastels have been described as like an adult crayon. This is like half true. So a pastel is made of pigment, it has wax, and it has oil. So like a crayon, it has wax, but crayons don't have oil. And the oil here gives it a bit of a creamier texture. Now I will say that the more higher quality pastels have more oil, whereas the lower quality ones have more wax. Ours tend to have a little bit more wax, which makes them not as creamy or easy to blend together, but they still work great. And as you can see in our boxes, we have a huge variety of colors. I've laid mine out here. I did include Q-tips, but I'll get to those later. So I've chosen a star design for my color palette. And what we're going to do is we're just going to focus on the 6 main colors, okay? So this includes your primary colors, which are red, blue, and yellow. And then your secondary colors, which are purple, green, and orange. Okay, and I don't have these in any particular order. We're going to focus on those because I want to teach you how to use 2 colors to create form without depending solely on black or white. And what do I mean by that? I'll show you. So here's an example that I did. I was just sort of messing around with options. What I did here to create form was I practiced using 2 colors. So instead of using just black and blue to create a darker, lighter blue, I used blue and purple to explore the darker and lighter shades within that color. Okay, so as you can see here, I did try different light sources, and I really like this one. I like having the dark on the outside and having the light source in the middle. Okay, so that means that we're going to do white in the middle, we're going to do our darkest color on the outside, and we're going to use a mid-range in the middle to blend those together. Okay, so you can do white for yours, or you could do black, in which case you're going to do black on the outside, your mid-range in the middle, and then your lightest color again in the middle there. So let's try an example. I'm going to do green. I think that that is a nice easy one to start with. And I'm going to do a light source in the middle of my piece of star here using white. Okay, so as you can see, I've used this pastel already, so it's a little bit dirty. All I need to do is wipe it off using my finger or a paper towel. But I'm just going to wipe it clean. And I've used it already, so you can see that it's not as sharp as it used to be, but there's still a good side to start with the outline. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to outline the edge with my darkest color first. When you're using pastel or generally any type of coloring material, you're going to start with your darkest color first. So all I'm doing right now is outlining the piece of star that I'm going to do. And yours might not be a star, it might be a circle, it might be another shape. Mine is the star. I'm not going to do it super thick because I want to leave room for the lighter green and for the white. But I think about a pinky's width is good. And I'm pressing quite hard. All right, I'm going to try and stay in the lines here, do as clean of a job as I can. Now, one thing I want to encourage you not to do is swipe the shavings of pastel off your page. I've been picking them up just by touching them with my finger. And then I've kind of been adding to a ball of pastel, which is not required or necessary. I've just been collecting them that way. That way they don't get under your paper and smudge everywhere. So they will be a little bit messy, but try to remove them as clean as you can. So now that I've done my darkest color, I'm going to come in with my light green, and I'm going to go right next to it. I'm going to use the sharpest edge of my pastel, and you can see I'm holding it a little bit different than I would a pencil. This is usually how I would hold a pencil, but I'm going to hold this where all of my fingers are forcing it in this forward direction. So I'm just going back and forth right next to my other green, and I'm going to overlap them just a little bit to create some of that blending there. And you can see that my pastel is breaking apart. I'm just going to pull that away. I'm going to go back and do the other sides. So I'm overlapping a little bit to give the pastel a chance to blend. And just like with the dark green, I'm only doing about a pinky's width thick. Okay. So you can see I've left a lot of room for the white there. Okay, so I'm going to jump in with the white now. I'm going to make sure it's clean, especially because I'm using white for everything. You can tell I have purple and orange on this one, so I'm going to clean it off really quick. All right, and then I'm going to go in the middle. I'm going to start in the middle, and I'm going to go towards the outside, overlap them a little bit like I did with the other ones. And I'm not going too far in. I'm just going about 1/4 of an inch into the previous color. All right, remember not to swipe. It's really tempting, but I'm going to try and just pick these up with my finger, get them out of the way there, and I might blow on it. All right. So there's my green tile. As you can see, when you do the light source in the middle, it makes it look like, or I'm sorry, when you do the white in the middle, it makes it look like the white source is coming from the top. All right, now I did bring out Q-tips, but here's the thing. I don't recommend using them. I don't recommend blending pastels with your finger or with a Q-tip, and here's why. I'll show you. So as you can see, it's actually pretty nice and blended here just by using the pastels, by pushing them into one another. If I were to use a Q-tip, you can see that it pulls the pigment away and it leaves behind sort of unsightly lines. So a lot of the pigment is gone now, and it looks a little bit more like one color than multiple colors. And you can see that my Q-tip is now full of pigment that could have been left on the paper. So I don't recommend doing that. I think that when you leave it fresh like it was before, it offers more contrast, and therefore it just looks a little bit more appealing. So you can continue this process with all of your colors. I started with green, so the ones next to it will be yellow and blue, and so on and so forth.